Here's one of the last pieces of the puzzle. Cleaning up this intake manifold and filed off all the casting marks everywhere. And different mounting spots for harnesses, mounting spots for the engine cover. This was for like the EGR. Hacked that off. Great big rectangle piece here with a port coming out for a hose. And put some plastic, what do you call it, epoxy in there. And then I got rid of one of the nipples here, don't need. And epoxied the hole shut, got rid of a nipple here, don't need. Epoxied the hole shut. And I'll go ahead and sand it down, put some filler on it, and put some primer on it, smooth it out, and then paint it. And right here, it looks like some of the oil is soaking through, so I don't know what I'm going to do there. The paint probably won't want to stick, so I'll probably have to grind that down right in there and put some epoxy here to try and get that thing from seeping through. Well, we'll see. Whatever. It is what it is. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. But, try and pretty it up a little bit. And then that'll be one of the last pieces of the puzzle. Got coilovers showed up. Worried about all the weight on the front end. I don't want the thing to be bouncy, so anyway, stick some proper suspension underneath of it. And then that's about it. Got one more thing coming. I got some 100mm stub coming to put in that axle, or in that transmission. And man, I hope that's it. I think that is it. I got spark plugs. And what a mess. Just thought I'd show this stage. Got the primer on it. And it's come out pretty good. So I'll let that cure out. Sand it down with some 320 in one spot right there with a nice gouge in it. Catch that. Sand it down with some 320 and then paint it aluminum color. Yeah, that's gonna look nice actually. I was kinda worried it was gonna be ugly. I think we'll be able to make that look all right. So, finally, stuff cleaned up. This thing's all done, except pull the pan off, the oil pan, reseal it, put it back on. And that's pretty much the last of the last things that needs to be done. Getting excited. Almost ready. So this is a VR6 swap kit. This is everything you need. Right there. And I'm pretty sure that is everything you need. I'm not lacking anything from that picture. But everything's ready. Everything's cleaned up. Everything's pretty much prepped. All the stuff for the transmission right there in that box. Waiting for the axle stubs. Those will be here in a day or two. So that's another last of the last things that needs to be done. There's all the stuff I pulled out of the intake. Got the throttle body all cleaned up, and I shaved these little ports for the water. So water runs through there. It keeps it warm. And in cold weather, freezing weather, keeps the throttle body from freezing up. But I'm going to eliminate that stuff. And here's that valve for the intake. Pretty simple stuff there. Timing chain covers ready to roll. Valve cover ready to roll. Wiring for the harness ready to roll. Downpipe. Suspension. Radiator. Tuned ECU. So everything's ready to roll. Motor mounts. Throttle or speedo cable. This little box is for the tack. New double platinum plugs. Couple seals. Sway bar that I'm happy hopefully to be able to put back in, and then the fuel pump, fuel filter set up. So my goodness, a lot of stuff that I've been acquiring, cleaning up, and my boy has been helping. But now it's fun time. Now it's time to get that Scirocco in here and start pulling stuff apart. So, one last look. One last look at the 1.8 liter big valve, 8 valve, dual Weber, 020 5-speed transmission, and it's got the standalone spark box, which runs off of a crank trigger right down in there. So this was a brand new rebuild on this motor, so this thing's still a good clean runner. My boy has been taking care of it, changing the oil, high quality oil all the time. And here we go, about to get this thing out of here. Radiator, motor trans, what little wiring there is for the motor. Boy, should be pretty easy to pull out. And I'm thinking I'm going to leave those axles in there because I think those are the same axles that I already have. And we'll see how aggressive, how much time we got. Clean this up a bit more. Spend a little bit of time anyway. Clean up the engine bay. It's not too bad. Yeah, but this has been fun. But he has not had fun with it because it's hard to keep tuned. So it only runs good once in a while. So it'll be real fun to have a nice modern setup in it. And this one, remember, we did the dash. So it's got a real nice dash. Bare interior. I'm going to put the original seats back in it because these ones just don't feel right. They don't sit right. And put the coilovers in it. So yeah, this thing's about to grow up here, about to get some power, about to fill the engine bay, and this should be cool. More than double the horsepower probably. So there we go. There we go. All yanked out of there. Mostly left it all together, except for the header. And then I'll go ahead and pull that off and get that out of there. And then we'll do a lot of cleanup. Pretty cool little motor. Pretty cool little motor tranny setup. Drop into any car. Gonna pull the ignition system out of it, the wire loom. Shouldn't be too bad of a big deal. So we got a lot of stuff done. Everything's stripped out of there. Engine bay's cleaned up. All of the wiring for the ignition system on that 1.8 motor. Everything is tore out of there. The exhaust, the race header, shifting linkage, the fuel pump for the carburetors. So that'll be a neat little package to go in some Mark I car. A little more progress done with the block. Got some of the timing covers bolted on it. New seals. Oil pan sealed up. And there's a couple of new parts we haven't seen yet, but those are the axle stubs that'll work for those axles. And what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to get the fuel pump and stuff mounted in there. So I'm coming up with a couple of different configurations for the fuel pump. And the accumulator. Let's see, which I'm going to be sticking right up under here. There's part of it. There's the accumulator. And then the other side of that will hook to the pump. I just gotta find a good place to mount it, and then I think that part will be done, and then I'll have to worry about a fuel filter up underneath the engine bay somewhere. So better do a little bit of an update here. Got some more stuff bolted on the motor. Got the 100mm flanges in the axle stubs in the transmission. There's the pile of stuff. It's almost gone. Just got to put the transmission, clutch, flywheel, transmission back on. And I got a mess underneath the car because I've been installing the shifter. And I haven't had to do too much. I just drilled a hole for the 2 front bolts in the thing. And I had to shave the hole a little bit. And then I'll make a bracket for the back of it to hold it up in there, and then bolt it on with those 2 bolts in the front, and that's it, done. Kind of goes in there pretty nice, actually. I'll put a little bit of butyl around the edge in there, so when it goes up in there it squishes tight and seals. So that part's done. That part is done. Oh, what do you know? Rust. Damn rust. Yep. I did a bunch of patch panels in here. Still holding up pretty good. Alright, back at it. After I finish the shifting box, and I'm going to work on installing the master cylinder for the clutch.